Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Stephanie D. Burroughs, president of Stephanie Speaking. I'm from New Jersey, and I spent over 35 years speaking, training, coaching, and producing programs for minority women, veteran, LGBTQ, and small business owners. And I've coached and positioned them to confidently compete for government, public agency, and corporate contracts. Many of them have earned millions of dollars in contracts and have also become certified for the appropriate socio-economic and or diversity certifications. And I must say appropriate, because people are going after certifications that they don't need to. And that's a waste of your time, your precious, precious time. If you want to learn more about me in particular, you can see my bio on my website at www.stephaniespeaking.com and find out so much more information there. And also you can check me out on LinkedIn and Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Instagram. Occasionally I remember to go there. I need to do more of it. I see more, it's becoming more and more business-like now. And today I'm here because I've gotten a lot of questions over the years. As you can imagine, more than 35 years of being out here advocating for minority women, small, veteran, LGBTQ business owners, helping them and putting on all kinds of programs for them, as well as working with them one-on-one. And there's been a lot of questions, a lot. Everything that has to do with going after the contracts, selling and marketing to them, to the organizations, acquiring those contracts. And once in, oh boy, especially when I was doing contract compliance monitoring, oh my gosh, heavily in construction at that time for many, many years, from 1980 till even up until 2004. Heavy construction in terms of working with those firms and others as well, but in terms of actually being out there dealing with the contract compliance monitoring. And then, of course, certification. So I've been working with this whole certification for many, many years, beginning back when I was at the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Hundreds and hundreds of certifications done there, meaning actually auditing them and making determination whether or not should be approved or denied. And also my stint with as a program or project director, I should say, for the Hudson Bergen Light Rail, I ran the DB Support Center for New Jersey Transit. And in addition to all the other work we did on that project for them, we were responsible for auditing these certification applications and, once again, making recommendations whether or not to approve or deny. And then my last stint with certification, actually, the audit process was writing an RFP and winning that RFP to provide audit services for the this was supposed to be for the tunnel project, the ill-fated, never happened tunnel project. So for, once again, a agency, transportation agency for the New Jersey, this was for New Jersey Transit and also DOT, we provided auditing services and did that I actually wrote the RFP. They came to me about it, but it was in the name of Rutgers University. And I was responsible for that project. So I can't believe I did all of that. That was in addition to everything else. That was in addition to coaching and putting on all these massive programs, expos and several hundred workshops and you name it, and participating in other people's events and programs and collaborating with others on programs. All for you, business owners, all for you. Why? I think God just put me in that space. So y'all are like children are to their parents. Y'all are to me. Business owners, small, minority, women, veteran, LGBTQ business owners. Anyway, we're going to talk about this whole certification stuff. Not going to get into a whole lot of detail, but giving you enough information to make some informed decisions based on questions I've been asked so often. One of them being, And I'll put the questions up here. And if you like, I would encourage you to leave your comments and put some questions in here. Time permitting, I will answer your questions. Do I need to be certified? I was talking with a client earlier today, and they were, I got to the point where I was asking, who's your ideal client, blah, blah, blah. And when I started hearing the response, I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you certified? And she said, no. And I don't think she had thought about that. Because she has so much other stuff going on with this business. So probably not on her mind, not first in her mind. And so I said to her, you know what? Let's stop for a minute. Let me show you some things. And we meet on Zoom. So I don't care where you are in the United States. You need help, I'm here. We meet on Zoom. And I've been working with web conferencing since about 2006 or 2007. So I love it. No limitations here. And we're able to share a desktop so that you can see exactly where I'm going online. And that's what I did with her. And I showed her some of the specific organization that she was speaking about. I said, well, I'm not quite so certain because this is relatively new for me for this particular organization to have a supplier diversity program, but let's go see. And I looked them up. And guess what? They had a supplier diversity program, and I went to work showing her all the information, showing her how you sign up as a vendor with them, what they require, what their requirements are, and what types of certifications they accept, and so forth and so on. So the question is, do I need to be certified? I would highly encourage you to do so if you meet the qualifications and if the organization or the corporation has a supplier diversity program. If they do, then they're going to want that. Is it a requirement? No, you're a business. You can do business as any other business does. But if you have the opportunity to shrink the pool of businesses that you're bidding against for contracts by being a part of or being designated, receiving a designation for one or more of these certifications, why not? Assuming you meet the qualifications. Not assuming, but presuming you meet the qualifications. So what's the most important thing to begin with? Well, let me just say this. Before you start thinking about certification, make sure you know your target market. Who is your ideal client? You really need to know who your ideal client is and then know whether or not they are looking for those certifications. But more importantly, do they buy what you sell? So when you're looking at this, it's who buys what I sell. Oh, and the other part of that is how do they buy it? How do they buy what I sell? What are the mechanisms that they use? And if they do have set aside programs, or perhaps they have second tier programs in the case of corporations, where they are putting goals on certain contracts that their primes are going to have in order to meet those goals, they're going to be looking for whatever those programs are. It could be minority business enterprise, women business enterprise, and so forth and so on. I'll get into those different designations momentarily. So is your target market a state, federal, or public? Is it an authority? Is it a corporation? Is it private? Is it commercial? Is it transportation, meaning the state, departments of transportation, or your rail services, bus services? Does who buy? And not all transportation authorities are required to have a DBE program or a certification program or any of that. Does your, so I already said state. Well, that means doing the research to find out. You need to learn to do not learn to do the research, but just do the research. I know. We'll get there. So for the state certifications, for the most part, I think what I've seen are the MBE, WBE, SBE. I'm not saying DBE because that is really a federal certification, but it is performed by agencies, transportation agencies on a state level. And in some cases, they are, say, for instance, here in New Jersey, that DBE certification is good for several agencies. They had a unified certification program. So several agencies fall under, so you get certified by one, certified by all, who are in that specific unified certification program. Ooh, where'd you go? Well, that was interesting. Come back. I'm still here with you guys, but I hit a button and something flipped. Anyway, moving forward. So that's on the state certification side, minority business enterprise, women business enterprise. And I said SBE, small business enterprise. There may be some states that have it as a certification. There are others that have it as a registration. Here in New Jersey, it is a registration. It's not a certification. However, it's the only certification. It's the only program that we have that has a set aside attached to that. There are no set asides here in New Jersey for MBE, WBE, but there is a purpose to getting certified as that, because some corporations are now using state certification, and other states sometimes will ask you if you want to go to that state to do business. Now, if you're reaching out more in the global level, and they will ask you, do you have a home state certification? So you want to have that home state certification. In addition to that, you'll find that oftentimes there are corporations or companies or commercial entities that will have contracts with the larger companies, and those contracts will have goals, participation goals. And so those goals will require them to use a certain percentage of their dollars for MBE or WBE, and maybe even SBE, depends upon where you are. So that's on the state side. Let's jump to the federal side. Let me just throw this in here before I get into that. So I've said MBE, WBE, SBE, and I even talked a bit on the DBE. Then we have the federal certifications, and they include both self-certification and a rigorous audit process. The 8A Business Development Program and certification is the certification is a much more rigorous process, just like the DBE. I forgot to mention that. The DBE certification, that's a rigorous process also. And they both ask for probably the most documentation. So the 8A Business Development Program, there's literally a program. If you get certified as an 8A company, you get to take advantage of this program for 9 years. Go to the trainings. Stay in touch very closely with your representative from the SBA who was assigned to work with your firm to help you through the process of government contracting. I know they may have a lot on their hands, but if you're not in their face, I don't know what to tell you. I had a young lady I met years ago. I was at a conference down in, it was a government contract conference. We were outside of D.C. I don't remember the name of the town in Virginia, but it was Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C. And we just met each other as we were going to have breakfast that morning before we left to go over to the conference, and we got to talking, and she was sharing some challenges with me that she was having as an newly 8A certified firm. And my first question was, well, have you, she really laid out the situation to me. And I said, well, have you brought this to the attention of your 8A representative at the SBA? And she hadn't. I said, they can maneuver through that. They can pick up their phone and call those folks or email them or write them on your behalf. Because here's the thing. She had done the groundwork, but wasn't getting traction. But she did the groundwork. And that's the thing. You don't go running for help until you've done your work. That's like saying, you said a prayer and ask God for something, and you sit there and wait for something to happen. And you didn't do anything. You put no works whatsoever. But she had done the groundwork. And it was awesome. And I said, this is what you do. You take all of that and you take them to that person and blah, 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 blah. And she wrote me afterwards to thank me profusely for just that little bit of advice. Just just a little coaching, because it worked. It worked. And over time she was able to get in, but because they opened that, they were able to get that door open, you know? So anyway, federal certifications, 8A business development and certification, sole sources are involved in that, set-asides are involved in that, and they really are developing you, but you don't put all your eggs into the one basket. So there are some criteria, things that you have to do, but the certification is one of the two that are the most rigorous. Then there's the 8M, which is the economic disadvantaged woman-owned small business, and then there is a woman-owned small business. Two separate programs. The reason being they have a difference in the criteria for the financial side of it, and then there's also a difference in the NAICS codes. So many of them will be the same, but there are some NAICS codes that show up under the economic disadvantage that may not show up under woman-owned small business, or vice versa. So each one of these programs has a listing of NAICS codes, and the first thing you do is see whether or not your NAICS code shows up, where it shows up, and then do I meet the criteria. And right now, you're able to sign up to actually do a self-certification. That's changing. So if you want to do the self-cert, jump on it now. And then there is Hub Zone, historically underutilized business zone. So there's a certification for that also that's done by the SBA. The 8A is done by SBA. The Hub Zone is done by SBA. The 8M is something you can do on your own right now. And there are some third-party certifiers. I think they're still in place. I'm not quite sure. You can go to look it up and find out more about that. With the Hub Zone, they have a price preference, 10%. So if you're 10% over on a bid compared to to someone else that's, oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me back up on that. This is also another sole source program. But I think they still have the 10% price preference. Bottom line is this. It's for the historically underutilized business zones. I've known companies that literally moved into Hub Zones just to take advantage of the program. And on top of that, you're helping with employing people who are also located in a Hub Zone. It doesn't mean it's the same Hub Zone as the company, but they're located in a Hub Zone and they're working at least 35 hours a month. So that's another certification process. Then there's the SDVOSB. I know you're saying, girl, woman, please. What is with all of these acronyms? Well, that's government. Government, especially the feds, live on acronyms. So, and new ones every other day. Service disabled veteran-owned small business. Not just a veteran-owned business, but a service disabled veteran-owned small business. First thing you're doing is you're making sure that you get your letter that says what your percentage of disability is, and then you go after the verification process. It's not a certification, it's a verification. VA is great for vets first and, looking to provide opportunities, contracts with them for their veterans, but they'll look first to the SDVOSB because it is a gold program. They have a specific goal to meet, not just the VA, but their agencies have that, other agencies have that goal as well. Federal, that is. And, I should also, I'll go back to it. And then there's small business. And small business is a self-certification for the feds, that is. So when you're completing the systems for acquisition management, SAM, registration, as everyone knows it to be, SAM registration. When you're completing that, you're indicating in there whether or not you are a small business based on your size standard. And then there's the small business. That is small business based upon the size standards. You need to know what your NAICS codes are, and then you need to know what your revenue is, and then they're looking at that to see whether or not you're exceeding the size standards. And if you're not, then you're self-certified as a small business. And finally, there's veteran-owned small business, for which there is no certification. But I always say team up with an SDVOSB if it's possible. And then also, if there aren't any SDVOSBs available to be able to work on a particular opportunity, then perhaps that's the opportunity for that veteran-owned small business if it's not a set-aside for SDVOSB. So I have some things out of order here. Oh, no, I don't. It's in order. So I did the state, and there was something I was going to tell you about the small business, but I forgot. So moving on. Before I do, I just want to throw some of these things in here for you. This is 8A, 8M, Hub Zone, SDV, OSB, small business, and the OSB. So now we're moving on. So bear with me. I'm using my notes so I don't forget, and it'll keep me from jumping back and forth. Hello. Private certifications. What's the point of the private certifications? Well, corporations use these private certifications. See, the other ones, the state, they'll do theirs. Not all do. You'll have to find out whether or not your state does have a certification program, and if so, where that's, where's the application, how do you download that, or is it done online, and who does the actual certification, blah, blah, blah. Then there's the federal, and several of them are done by SBA, and others are self-certification, and others are verification. One is a verification, not a certification. And next, we're into the private certification. So if it's a corporation, and this is where I get a lot of folks calling, I talked to so-and-so at such and such a company, and they told me I needed to be certified. What they probably said was, are you certified? They asked the question, and they said, well, you should probably look into getting certified. You know what? It's up to you to decide how you want to go after business with a company. And if you think you can compete against the big boys and all the other folks that are out there, all the noise that's out there, then fine, you go ahead and do that. But if there's a way to open up a back door, side door, any other door to get in, what do you think? So private certifying entities are NMSDC, National Minority Supplier Development Council. They have chapters, or councils rather, around the country, and you want to look for the ones that service your area. Pennsylvania has, I believe, 2, Eastern and Western, I believe. But I know the folks over the Eastern side, the Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council, and they handle anything from like below Trenton to Southern New Jersey to Delaware, and then Eastern Pennsylvania. And then for the rest of New Jersey, New York, and I believe they may even do some upstate New York, there's the Minority Supplier Development Council of New York, New Jersey Minority Supplier Development Council. So they handle that certification. So there are councils all around the country. See you can go to the NMSDC site and look up their councils or affiliates or whatever they're terming them now, and find the one that covers your neck of the woods, as Al Roker would say. Then we have NWBOC, NWBOC, National Women Business Owners Corporation, and they provide WBE certification and veteran certification. So remember, the first one, NMSDC, just minority business enterprise certification only. So if you are a woman-owned business, but you're also a minority-owned business, then you're going to want to do, this is my suggestion, do both. You get double access to some of the same companies, much more face time. And then there may be some companies that are members of one and not necessarily members of the other. WBE and veteran certification done by NWBOC. And then WBENC, Women Business Enterprise National Council, also does WBE certification. It's one that I don't have in here because at the time this was done, it wasn't in effect. And that is, there is the National LGBTQ Chamber that does certification also, okay, for LGBTQ companies, companies that are owned, business owners. Woo, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. Let me tell you something. Y'all want to laugh? Let me give you a laugh. I need to take a break here. Is that okay with you? Because I need it. This is my third time giving this presentation in the last 3 hours. Hello? Let me tell you what happened. So I'm doing this through this BeLive.tv. And it's like, what do you call it? It's like Blab used to be if you were really a people. I was so fond of Blab. And it'll gives you the opportunity to do, either just individual, or I could literally, and I will be very soon, having interviews with other people. So split screen, wherever they are, they can interview from there. They don't have to be on their laptop. They can be on their phone, can download the app. So if I'm on, how we were doing Facebook Live and we're trying to like put the camera way up here so get both faces in there, because I'm good for interviewing people or just introducing folks or, asking folks to come on board for a hot minute. And we're like trying to squeeze in together on this little screen, right? We don't have to do that anymore. They too can come right in and from their phone or their laptop, wherever they are, and it'll show like a split screen, and I can interview them or talk with them or whatever the issue is, the situation is. So it's pretty cool. But this is the third time, so I pray to God everything's coming out all right on here this time. The first time I did the whole presentation. When I went to play back, I had no sound. Zip. None. I was like, what? Second time I did the whole thing, lo and behold, even though I could see me and everything, I didn't click the start broadcast. Come on, somebody help a sister out. I need a trip away on an island somewhere, beautiful blue-green bathtub, feeling water. Friend of mine I saw on Facebook, she's away right now. It's like, dang, you could have told me you were leaving. I could have gotten it to the luggage. You know what I'm saying? I'd have fit. Big piece of luggage. Somebody help. So anyway, they say third time is a charm. I truly hope this is the charm. So we did NMSDC, National Minority Supplier Development Council for Private Certifications, then NORBOC, National Women Business Owners Corporation, WeBank, Women Business Enterprise National Council. There's also some others, USWCC, U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce. And of course, they're doing WOSB and EDWOSB certification, helping you through that. NWB, not helping, actually, third-party certifying. I think they're still doing it. I'm not certain. I'd have to go back and check it out. NWBE, National Women's Business Enterprise, Corporate and Regional Governments, part of the USWCC, and then IWBE, International Women's Business Enterprise Certification for Corporate and Regional Governments. Oh my goodness. So you got all of that, right? There's a whole bunch. The majority of them will be the same. I don't know if I said this before or not, but the majority of the information is going to be repetitive. So when you do your very first one, and I recommend, if you're going after any state government or if you're going to go after work in other states, go ahead and get your state government certification done if they have it. It's usually not going to be as intensive. Let me not say that. It may not be as intensive. It depends upon your state. Because I'm thinking about the difference between New York and New Jersey, and there's a huge difference between those two certifications. And New Jersey, still, you download your application and you have to submit everything via the mail or, FedEx or whatever. But with New York, the whole thing is done online. It's pretty cool for the Economic Development Corp. So New York State. So that's pretty cool. New York State, that is. But they tend to ask you, first thing, do you have certification in your home state? So before you go there, you make sure you have your certification of your home state if they do that. If they don't have a certifying entity in the home state, then you have to just let them know that, and they pretty much will know. Um, so make sure that when you do that very first one, you're saving everything. You're saving copies of all the documents that you're submitting. Upload everything into a file in your cloud, because you want to be able to easily tap that information to attach for the other certifications, and you will also be able to, you have most of the answers to the questions that you can easily put into that application. The other part of that is there are going to be a lot more questions in most of the other certs. They're different questions, I should say. So there'll be the basic stuff, and then each one will have its own other stuff. That's a requirement. But oftentimes you'll see a lot of the same information. Oops, sorry about that. I don't know what I was doing. Moving the laptop. Better than me banging on the desk. I'm good for doing that to emphasize something. Bam! And then I watch myself in the video. Let me move this one more time because something's looking weird. And I watch myself in the video and I'm like, oh, girl, you got to stop banging on the desk, making all that noise. This woman right here, I'm telling you, sometimes I just have to wonder. So just so you know, the federal government has procurement goals, and I wasn't going to share this, but I will. Small business goals are 23%, small disadvantaged business 5%. That would be your 8A, ED, economic disadvantage, and or women-owned small business, each 5%. Hub zone 3%. Service-disabled, veteran-owned small business 3%. Those are the goals, and those goals are passed on to their primes. Other programs, New Jersey state certifications, they have the MBE, no goals. WBE, no goals. There's no set-asides. But I think I mentioned to you earlier, the purpose of getting certified is that as that in the state. Well, there is one county that does have a set-aside program. The rest of the state, there's no set-asides, but there's one county, and that's Hudson County, that has a set-aside program. Kudos, Hudson County. And SBE, Small Business Enterprise Registration, not a certification, and it does have the set-aside program. That is the set-aside program, 25% goal program for the state of New Jersey, and that is for prime. It can be a prime set-aside, it can be a subcontracting goal, and it can be a partial, meaning there's a contract out. It's not a subcontracting goal. It's not a prime for the whole contract. There's a piece carved out in that contract just for SBE. So sometimes you may see that. And then they do have a veteran-owned business certification, but there are no goals in that certification. The New Jersey State SBE goals, well, I've already told you it's 25%. Get to know which public agencies have certification programs, meaning they accept certifications. Not all of them do. Don't assume that. And if they do, like for instance, our major authority is the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. So they have MBE, WBE, SBE, that's all certifications, and DBE, which is a certification. So get to know what they have. The DBE project, by the way, if I didn't say this before, and I'm not sure because I've done this 3 times now, I told y'all, I'm just losing it here. What did I say this time that it's ridiculous. Anyway, the DBE program is primarily a subcontracting program, and it usually kicks in when there's at least $1 worth of federal funding on the program. So you know it's going to be way more than $1, right? Also, see if I don't know what I did with it. I wanted to tell you about a couple of other things, just give you a couple of extras, but I have to come back to it. With the DBE, you also find it's usually mainly used on construction projects. So don't think that you have to be a construction company to be a DBE on a construction contract, because you don't. Here's some things that I saw happen when I was managing the DBE Support Center for the Hudsonburg and Light Rail project, which at that particular time I think was the first of its kind light rail project done by a consortium. It was a design build, that was the key, the first of its kind design build contract. And I remember there being a gas station on the project that had DBE certification. A gas station. What? Who's heard of that? I didn't even know they could. And I've done tons of these certifications, auditing them, that is, and site visits and what have you. DBE, MB, WB, going back to like 89. So I was really surprised to hear that. Then they had an aerial photography company. Because when I saw their, and I knew about it because, the meetings and all the stuff that I had to deal with that project. But it was pretty cool because that was a DBE certified firm. And I remember when the consortium was doing their presentation and everything after the project and to talk about it. And they had all these aerial pictures of the project. It was pretty cool. And then I think on that project, it was either that project or another one that I was on, where there was, and during excavation, something came up. And they had to bring in an archaeologist who was DBE certified. Now, I can think of so many other types of businesses that are not construction related, but are needed by those who are running those projects, by those either construction management firms and engineers, architects, and what have you. So I want you to think creatively. Maybe you haven't thought about it in those terms before. And if they have a need to subcontract to a DBE in order to help meet their goals, hello. See, oftentimes contractors used to get upset and they would call me, Miss Burroughs. At that time, I was Miss Burroughs, not Dr. Burroughs. Miss Burroughs, they got a goal and they're supposed to meet it for such and such and such, and they're not bringing me in. Why? Well, first of all, you're not the only one here. There's a whole lot of other people that they may be talking to, or they may already have their team. But they don't have to fulfill it. And if they're doing the same type of work as that firm, why in the world would they need you? They do the same type of work, so they're going to bring in some other folks. I don't care if it's just to buy paper from a supplier. Maybe you have a store, you supply paper or whatever. There's so many other things. So something for you to think about, okay, for that DBE certification. So these certifications are tied to various diversity or procurement programs, and some have subcontracting goals, some have set-aside goals, and some have sole source goals. You just need to know who you're going after the business with, what programs they work with, and their procurement programs and their diversity programs. Know them both. Understand who buys what you sell and how they buy. Couple of things I want to bring to your attention, because I was talking about the WOSB and the EDWOSB, and those are women's programs, and the WBE. So let me just pull up this post that I did and find, what is this? Give me my page. The link that I want to give you. If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, on May 11th, the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers is hosting a seminar called Women Warriors in Business. And I would highly encourage you to take advantage of coming out to this. It's going to be really good. We're going to have some really great panels, 3 great panels, as well as, I'm giving you the website now, and you can check out that website and go to and register. It's going to be really good. I'm pleased with what they're doing, and I'll just give you some ideas for the ladies. Come on, if you're a woman veteran, oh goodness, you need to be there. And if you're a woman in business, well, you a veteran too. You're a veteran of your home and the stuff you got to deal with in your business. It's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Thursday, May 11th. It's at Rutgers Business School, 1 Washington Park in Newark, New Jersey. And I encourage you to register. You go to that site and you'll see the registration button. Click on that and register. It's only $25. Come on now. And you're going to hear from, let me tell you what the agenda is really quickly. Not only am I a keynote for that program, but I'm also, I'm doing double duty, y'all. I'm also the moderator for the Contracting Supplier Diversity Plenary Session. So the plenary session number 1 is leadership, being an entrepreneurial leader in business and career. And career, what does that tell you? If you want to know how to be a leader in your career, if you're not working in a business, but you may be what we call an intrapreneur, working on a job and with a mindset of a business owner or the spirit of an entrepreneur. And then plenary session number 2 is digital marketing, integrated marketing in a digital world. And plenary session number 3, contracting supplier diversity, the real deal in winning public and private contracts. Public and private. So we have people on the panel from the public sector and from corporations. I so encourage you to come out to that. There is going to be refreshments in the morning and then a lunch from 12:30 to 1:45, at which time I'll be speaking. So I hope that you'll come out and support. Also, I wanted to let you know that in the event you felt like, Dr. Burroughs, my head is spinning from all of that information you just spewed at us. I understand. And one of the things I'm known for being able to do is to help you to convert your confusion to clarity, your frustration to focus. No more fear, no more frustration. We get over that. There's no reason for it. It's not necessary. It takes time. And step by step, and with the knowledge and vast experience I've had, I'm here to be able to help you. But I wanted to do something special for you. So if you're on this broadcast or you listen to this broadcast and you hear this broadcast, between now and the end of this week, if you sign up to if you decide let me change that up. Between now and the end of this week, if you decide that you would like to take advantage of a 1-hour session with me with a 52% discount. Hello. This is my first time doing this, by the way. No, I'm sorry. I'm taking that back. I did this for one program. And the person who took advantage of it got so much value. I was like, shut up, Stephanie. You're giving away all your everything. So you get 1 hour with me, and it's only $97. Now, what you do, you can go to my website, and let me give it to you specifically. I don't want to, I don't know why I'm doing that. Stop. Let me I have it here. 3 times. Let's just pray this is working this time. Everything's in place. Everything. Here we go. This is the site you can go to. Purchase your hour. As soon as you do that, it's www.stephaniespeaking.com/online-store.html. You can go there, purchase your 1-hour session with me. You'll receive, I will be sending you a Zoom link with the date and the time. I'm sorry, back it up. I will send you my calendar link. You will schedule the date and time that works best for you according to my calendar link. And once I receive that, I'll send you a Zoom link. And the Zoom link will be how we're going to meet. We're going to meet via Zoom. And in addition to that, not only are you getting 52% off of that 1 hour with me, but you will also receive the link in the Zoom appointment. You're going to receive the link to the presentation for today. How's that? That work for you? Okay, I hope it does, because this was the 3rd time I'm trying to keep this energy level up. Woo! Man. And the brain fresh. So again, I'm Dr. Stephanie D. Burroughs. I'm located here in New Jersey. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, WordPress. I don't know. Did I say Facebook? I think I did. And of course, you're watching me on Facebook. And you can find out more on my website, www.stephaniespeaking.com. I hope that you'll take advantage of the offer that I've made, because this is not something likely to come around too soon again. So jump on it now. And the schedule will be for this month. So we don't want to wait. We want to get it done so that you can get going with your certification. What we're going to do, you're going to talk to me. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. I want to need to know more about your business and have a good idea of where you're going, and what's going to work for you or not. And then you can ask me questions so you can get to know more about me, and we'll see whether or not we're a good fit for one another. And if so, perhaps we will work further together. I'm Dr. Stephanie D. Burroughs, president of Stephanie Speaking. The light in me bows to and always honors the light in you. Namaste.